Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for Euro 2020 fantasy football content. Every time I say that, it's difficult. Guys, trust me, when I'm making those videos, it's so hard to not say Fantasy Premier League. It's so hard not to say Fantasy Premier League, but here we are. We are officially going to be starting the Euros as of, well, 2 hours time. Well, I better turn off my own video on my other screen. Why is that doing that? Oh, I know why. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Sorry, guys. So, yeah, welcome, guys. I tell you what, it's been a while since I last did a stream. And let me tell you, I have missed you guys a little bit. It's been weird, like, because usually I'm doing 2 streams a week. But because there's not been any Fantasy Premier League, I've not been doing any streams, really. We did 1 stream last week, didn't we? But anyway, I think I've closed down everything I need to close down over here. Just about. Sick of hearing myself. Right, let's. Oh, why is it still going? I've done something wrong here. I've done something terribly, terribly wrong. Here we go. Right, fixed it. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm a little bit disorganised. That probably does not surprise you. It's just been crazy. Like moving house, there's always one more job to do, and one more. Oh, I'll just do one more job, and then I'll set up for my stream. So yeah, a little bit disorganised. But let's say hello to some people before we start the stream proper. So Sky is in the chat. We've got Offcore, we've got Timothy. We have got any other members in the chat. Oh, we've got quite a few. Jonathan Cruz, Olivier. Yeah, nice guys. It's good to see you. I've got the beer ready. I'm ready to watch some football today, guys. I'm telling you that. I still haven't unpacked any of my hats. Like, usually, I'd be wearing a hat for pretty much every video, every stream, but they're packed away somewhere, and I can't find... All my hats are hidden in some box. I can't find them. We should probably talk about some... we should probably talk about some fantasy at some point. Also, absolutely sweating in this top. I don't know why I chose to wear this, but... Like a football shirt with, like, light shining on me and stuff. Oh, well. It's absolutely fine. So yeah, it seems like we've got a pretty good turnout today. 566 of you as it stands, which is really, really awesome to see. I hope you guys by now have joined the mini league. I was actually going to set a target earlier today of getting 5,000 members of the FPL Mate mini league by the end of the day. But we already smashed it, guys. So well done, guys, to everyone who has been joining the league. Awesome. We're going to sort you out some prizes. I'm going to do probably a football shirt giveaway for the winner. Maybe we'll do a couple of football shirts or something like that. I'll maybe do this football shirt. I'll send you out this one because I think this is an absolute sick shirt. So I'll send you this one. Not this one. I'll get you a new one. And I'll also get you a football shirt from... I want to say one of the teams from the Euro. So you, whoever wins, let me know. You'll have one of these, and I'll get you another shirt. I'll get you one from whatever team from the Euros you want. So the winner will get a couple of football shirts. So hopefully that's an okay prize. I didn't really want to do cash or anything like that. I don't really like cash prizes. I think it's a bit impersonal. I'm sure a few of you guys would absolutely love some cash, but no, we're going to do a football shirt giveaway. So yeah, whoever wins wins. So I suppose let's start talking about some fantasy. Let's talk about some fantasy. So guys, you may already know that my team looked ever so slightly different on the video I posted yesterday. So yesterday I posted what was meant to be my final lineup, but of course it never works out that way. There's always more tinkering to be done. I did, in fairness, say in that video the one player I wasn't completely convinced by was Dan James. And I also said I'd be willing to sacrifice Pau Torres if I had to. And that's exactly what I've done. So I've upgraded Dan James to Yannick Carrasco, and I've downgraded Pau Torres to Stefan Ristovski of Macedonia, who's a 4 million defender. Spoken a little bit about him. Some of you guys will know about Stefan Ristovski already. And this is what the team basically looks like. So, yeah, I think Carrasco is a really good shout because he's 7 million, and it looks like, from what I'm reading, Eden Hazard is not going to be playing the first game for Belgium. And if Hazard is not playing the first game for Belgium, who's going to slot in at left wing? Well, it's going to be Yannick Carrasco. I really strongly feel it's going to be Yannick Carrasco just because the form he's shown at club level, it's just been absolutely fantastic. International level as well, pretty good as well. So he's a really talented player. He's been part of the Belgium setup for a long time. He played as the replacement of Hazard in the friendlies. So overall, I'm pretty confident he's going to start at left wing. So to get the left winger for Belgium for 7 million, not a bad price. In terms of other 7 million players, I wasn't really convinced by them. That's why I went for Dan James. I thought if I'm not convinced by a 7 million player, I'll just take the money out of him and go for Dan James instead. But no, Carrasco is filling me with a little bit of confidence. Obviously, it's a bit of a risk. And, you know, I think with the great benefit of Euro Fantasy is because the way the bench works, you can afford to take a little bit of a risk because you know you've got the backup brigade on your bench to bring on if things don't go your way. So that's absolutely fine. We can't expect points from every single one of our players. But if you've got a strong bench, there may be a way of squeezing points out of everyone. So that's kind of what I'm hoping. A few people asking about why I've got players on my bench, and this is why, by the way, in my previous lineup videos, this is why I didn't put players on the bench. It's basically because I knew people would ask why are they on the bench, because I'd have to sort of explain the live substitution rule again, guys. If you want a full rundown on the rules, I really do recommend checking out a video that I made a couple of weeks ago about about all the rules of Euro Fantasy, the live substitutions, the live captaincies. Basically, the premise is that you can substitute on players mid-match day if they haven't played yet. So because Ronaldo, here, I'll just click it so you guys can see. I'll click on the date. So as you can see, Cristiano Ronaldo plays on the 15th of June. So he plays last out of every one of my players. So therefore, say David Alaba doesn't get me very many points. That's no problem. I'll sub David Alaba out and bring in Cristiano Ronaldo for his points there. So that's the basic idea. Same works with captains. If your captain hasn't played yet, you can transfer your captaincy to any player who hasn't played yet. So yeah, yes. Nick Sharp in the chat said, "I can't believe people still don't know the basic rules." Look, the rules are confusing. I completely get that. If you are used to playing fantasy Premier League, then these rules are not going to be immediately obvious. I had to do a little bit of reading. I had to kind of get my head around it myself. So there's no embarrassment whatsoever in not knowing the rules of the game. But at the same time, if you really want to do well in this game, you should probably try and get yourself clued up. You've got 2 hours. We've got an hour and 50 minutes. Try and get yourself clued up on the rules because Just knowing the rules is such a huge advantage, because all of your mates, a lot of your mates, a lot of the more casual players are not going to fully understand or fully grasp the rules of the game and how interactive it is and how you can make changes midway through a match day. And that's going to be so important for you to get the upper hand on them. So yeah, just as simple as knowing the rules is a huge advantage in itself. A few people, Joshua and Debanjan, asking why I'm going for Berardi over Chiesa. I do think Berardi is going to start, to be honest. I really do think Berardi is going to start. I feel strongly, in fact, that he's going to start. He's been in the far better form. He scored in each of his last 4 appearances for Italy. In his last 6 games for Italy, he scored 5 goals. The only game he hasn't scored in his last 6 games for Italy was a game in which he played just 7 minutes of football. That was the only game in the last 6 that Berardi hasn't scored in an Italian shirt, which is quite crazy. So he's in fantastic form. I think he's played his way into the team. He played, usually when you look at the friendlies, and there's a bit of rotation in the friendlies, who's playing in the tougher game? Well, Berardi was playing in the tougher friendly for Italy. The other friendly, I think, was San Marino, maybe. So you can kind of discount, to a degree, you can discount the players playing in the easier friendly. I can't remember who the second friendly for Italy was. I'm sure someone in the chat knows. But Berardi was playing in that, and he scored in that game as well. So I do strongly think that he will start. But if he doesn't, we'll find out. We will find out in 48 minutes' time. We'll find out if he starts or not. And if he doesn't start, that's fine. We've still got an hour to change things up, to switch things about, to make that change. So that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. We've got time, guys. XRDC in the chat says, hi Dan, spoke to you on Twitter. What formation do you think is best, 3-4-3 or 4-4-2? I don't think there's such thing as a good formation. If you should basically, or at least the strategy I'm going for, is have every single one of my players, whether they're on the pitch, whether they're on the bench, just have them to be good playing players who you would trust to have on the pitch. So you haven't got a 4-2-2 or a 4-2-2, a 4-4-2. You haven't got a 3-4-3. What you've really got is just a flat 15 players. That's the way I'm thinking about it. I've got 15 players. I'm putting them on the pitch in the order in which they play their first game. And from there, we can make substitutions based on who doesn't perform from the earlier games, and we can sub them out and replace them with people playing in the later games. So it's not really about what's the best formation as it is. Well, my formation at the end of the week will end up whoever out of my 15 players has scored the most points, and it's going to be as simple as that. It's really going to be as simple as that. Whoever the 11 best high scoring players are, they will define the formation, not me. I'm not going into this thinking I want this formation. Obviously, it'd be nicer if your attackers score well, because the attackers usually have higher ceilings in terms of points. So it'd be nice if they did well. But there's no set formation, and I think that's a really good way of looking at Euro Fantasy. It's very different to Fantasy Premier League in the sense that you shouldn't be thinking about your formation. Your formation should create itself based on the performances of your players as you make your live substitutions. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. But anyway. RK says, why don't you invest in good goalkeepers? Because I don't think there's too many points to be gained from goalkeepers. I mean, really, obviously you get points for a clean sheet, you get points for saves, but the big points are going to come from your outside players. Unless your goalkeeper saves a penalty, which obviously it could happen, but it's pretty unlikely. What we're really looking for is those players who can get a goal, get 2 goals maybe, get assists as well, get clean sheets, and get goals from outside the box, and all these kind of different ways of getting points. Those are going to be your big hitting players. So goalkeepers, this has kind of been what my thought process is in Fantasy Premier League. So you don't really need to spend too much money on your goalkeepers as long as your goalkeeper is playing. And we've got Daniel Backman. He's got a very nice fixture against Macedonia. So there's a very good chance of a clean sheet. I don't think any more chance than anyone else getting a clean sheet. In particular, I think Backman is probably the best 4.5 million goalkeeper to go for. Maybe. We've got Isan here with the super chat. Thank you so much, Isan. Really appreciate that, man. Hey, mate. Thoughts on Shaqiri and Bernardo Silva for this week? Also been a fan of your FPL and Euro content for a while. First ever super chat. Well, thank you for sticking with me for so long. I'm glad you're enjoying the Euro stuff. And also welcome everyone who is new to the channel as of this Euro Fantasy stuff. I mean, I think we've gained something like 3,000 subscribers since starting Euro Fantasy. So a lot of you guys are going to be new. And welcome. Thank you for joining me. But back to Isan's question. Excuse me. So, yeah, what do we think of Shaqiri and Bernardo Silva? Well, Shaqiri, although I still do feel like he's the star man of the Swiss team, and I do feel like he can pick up some points, I would not be 100% convinced that he will get some points, because his form at club level, well, he's barely been playing at club level, his form on an international level is kind of left quite a lot to be desired. If I'm honest, I'm not saying he can't score points. I'm not saying he can't score goals. I'm not saying he won't grab assists, because throughout the tournament, yeah, he will. He absolutely will. He'll get, some returns throughout the tournament. But when is it going to happen? Is it going to happen in this game? I'm not fully convinced that he's going to be a star of the tournament. I don't really think anyone would say he's going to be a star of the tournament. So yeah, not fully convinced by Shaqiri, and I do prefer Carrasco for the same price, 7 million. We've got Bernardo Silva here. You've mentioned as well. Bernardo Silva is kind of not really a good fantasy player, if that makes sense. Yes, he's got a little bit more output, attacking output for Portugal compared to Man City, but at the same time, he's not a true attacking player. He's more of a creative player than he is a goal-scoring player. And the real points, particularly with midfielders, because midfielders get you 5 points per goal, we are really looking for goals from our midfielders, and that's kind of difficult because there's not a lot of midfielders who are obvious goal scorers really out there. So choosing midfielders is really tough. But Bernardo Silva, I believe he's the same price as Diogo Jota. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do prefer Diogo Jota in for the same price and for the same team, just because he does have that extra little bit of goal scoring ability, a goal scoring nous. Wanting to shoot, wanting to be in and around the box. And, rather than looking to make a pass, he might take a shot, be a little bit greedy at times, which is fantastic for fantasy because we want players who get us goals, right? So, yeah, I would be more tempted for Jota over Bernardo Silva, and I'd be more tempted by Carrasco than Shaqiri. But, it's up to you. Like, if you have a strong feeling about any player, who am I to tell you guys to not go for them? You gotta trust your gut, haven't you? Timothy has said, how the heck is Kante owned by 45% of the players? Yeah, it's gone up. Guys, let me tell you, please, if you could listen to just one piece of advice from this whole stream, and I know a lot of you guys watching will have Kante in your team right now. He's got to go. Take him out, put anyone else in. I'm not saying that Kante's a bad player. I'm really not. He's a fantastic player. But he's not a fantasy player. He's not a fantasy player. There's no points for ball recoveries. Kante is not a player who gets goals or assists. He's got, maybe like one goal in his entire France career. Maybe a couple of assists. It's not that I dislike Kante. I think he's fantastic. But he's not right for fantasy. He's just not that kind of player. And it's a shame. I just go for someone else. Go for more attacking players. Don't go for any defensive midfielders. I would say try and avoid centre-backs as well. Look at your player and think, is this player likely to get a goal or an assist? Those are the two main factors you should be looking at, rather than just the quality of the player. Danny Max says, any prizes in FPL Mate League, Dan? That will be the football shirts. I'll be giving away a couple of football shirts to the winner, as I said earlier, but maybe a few people weren't here. Someone said as well, isn't Alaba the same as Kante in that respect? I kind of see where you're coming from. I kind of see where you're coming from, because you would think typically Alaba is a defensive midfielder, but for Austria, Alaba actually plays either on the left of midfield, or he plays behind the striker as a centre attacking midfielder. And I'm not saying that suddenly makes him a good attacking player. It doesn't. But for a start, he's in much nicer positions to potentially get those goals and assists. So even if he doesn't score, he's in the right positions, and you give yourself a chance. If you're in the right positions, you're spending time in and around the box, you will always give yourself a chance of getting a goal or an assist. Also, with Alaba, which is another thing that makes him very, very different from Kante, is that Alaba takes set pieces. So Alaba is going to be taking corners, so that's an extra avenue to get himself some assists. He crosses the ball in from a corner and someone else heads the ball. That's an assist for you. Alaba is taking free kicks. If he's shooting from free kicks, 5 points for a goal because he's a midfielder, and an additional point if it's outside the box. So 6 points per goal for Alaba. Not saying he's definitely going to score a free kick, but it could happen. Whereas Kante, he's not going to be taking any set pieces. He's not going to be in and around the box because he plays in a much more defensive role for France. So do you kind of see what I mean? So there is a big difference. I say a big difference. I'm not saying that Alaba is going to be a star man in your team. He's not going to be a superstar for fantasy this year. But he provides a much more ways of getting you fantasy points. And that's kind of what you've got to think about. Look at your player. Is there avenues in which this player is going to get you points? We've got Sylvester Pice. I think that's what it says. Yeah, sorry, my lights are so bright I can barely see. I'm going blind. Thank you very much for joining as a member of the channel. Please enjoy the emojis. I think we'll probably do some Euro emojis soon, I think, as well. We'll do some emojis so for some of the players in the Euros. Hopefully that will be pretty cool to have for you members. And obviously I'll keep an eye on all members' chats as I always do, because obviously we really appreciate your support. And yeah. Rohan says, how do you justify Denier? Well, I mean, yeah. It's a very good point, because Denier is not a player who is going to score goals or assists. And you're absolutely spot on there. And I've kind of been pretty persistent in saying I much rather the fullbacks than the centre-backs. But Denier is 4.5 million, and he's playing for one of the best teams in the whole tournament. He is just such a good price for a team that's got a very good chance of a clean sheet. And I think it boils down to that, really. He's got a game against Russia for Belgium. Belgium, one of the best teams in the tournament. He could very easily get a clean sheet there. So for that reason, players like Denier, players like Pau Torres, even though they are centre-backs, you're not spending a premium and you're getting a centre-back from a top team. So that's kind of the upside there. If you're paying like 5.5 million for De Ligt, for example, 5.5 million for a centre-back, then that's not such a good idea. Where you can get Wijndal for 4.5 million, same defence. De Ligt doesn't get any more points for clean sheets than Wijndal does, so why spend the extra money? Yes, you could say De Ligt maybe gets a headed goal, but you can't really count on it, I don't think. Deep Kundu says, do you think Morata will start over Moreno? Yes, I do. Supposedly, a lot of people in the Spanish press think that Moreno should or could start. So I'm not writing out off Moreno completely. I need to turn these lights away a little bit. And that's not even made the lighting that much worse. And it's made my head feel a lot better. Hopefully you can still just about see me. I know it's kind of dark in here. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Morata has been playing every single game. He's been playing every single game. So for that reason, he's just the preferred choice in that Spain team. And, a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about Morata. Perhaps we remember his time in the Premier League, which is completely understandable. Perhaps we remember his time in La Liga as well. Completely understand. But Morata's actually had a really, really strong season this year. With Juventus. So I just don't think we should be completely right in Morata off as, Moreno's much better, Moreno must start. Because Morata has been playing every game for Spain for a very good reason. And so I think it's a little bit naive to assume that Moreno is just going to suddenly come in. So yeah, until we know something a little bit different, I think we have to assume that Morata continues to start as a forward for Spain. I think we just have to continue with that assumption. So there we go. Lucas says, is it okay to have Jota and Ronaldo? Yeah, sure, why not? Pick your players who you think are going to score the most points. I mean, some people will say, oh, I want to have a little bit of this, I want to have a little bit of that. I don't understand it because you're covering your risk. But at the end of the day, fantasy football games are games of players you think are going to score the most points. If you have Ronaldo and, I'm trying to think of a player roughly the same price as Jota, or Eriksen. So say you have Ronaldo and Eriksen in your team, but actually you think Jota is going to outscore Eriksen, don't say, oh, no, I won't get Jota because I've already got Ronaldo. No, if you genuinely think, take it on an individual basis. Simplify itself for you. Who do you think is going to score more points, Eriksen or Jota? If you think Jota's going to score more points, go for Jota. If you think Eriksen's going to score more points, go for Eriksen. You don't need to worry about Ronaldo. And just kind of think about it. That's how I like to think it. Every fantasy decision, try and simplify it for yourself. We get caught up a lot of the time with making things a little bit too complicated. And yes, some strategies are a little bit complicated. For example, I'm making sure my defenders, each of my 5 defenders, including goalkeepers, so I guess you could say really 7 defenders, each of them plays for a different team. So, there's no double jeopardy for me. If a player doesn't score or doesn't get the clean sheet, that's fine. I'll just move on to the next guy. I'll swap him out and bring in someone else. Easy. Easy peasy. A few people saying Grealish or Mount. I think Mount is more nailed on. I think Grealish is a little bit of a risky one. I don't know 100% if he's going to start. Shima says, will T. Puchak's 4 million defender of Poland start? Yeah, I've heard of this guy. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on him. But I believe he's like a young guy. Maybe he's like 19 years old. And he's maybe played 1 or 2 games ever for Poland. So, I don't know. I would not be assuming that he's going to start, no. If you're going to go for a 4 million defender, I think Ristovski is the guy to go for. So, yeah, I know why a few people are asking about Puchaks. Sorry, Polish people in the chat, if I'm butchering his name. Puchas. Let's go with Puchas. I think I know why a few people are assuming Puchas is going to be a good pick, and that's because you've seen him in some fantasy teams from some other fantasy creators. I've seen them too. I'm not convinced by it, to be honest. I prefer Ristovski. But they might say something different, and my opinion is no more valid than theirs. So if you like what someone else has said about Puchas, then go for him. If you like what I've said about Ristovski, go for Ristovski. There you go. Pick your team, guys. Of course, is Foden a good differential? He could have a good tournament. Yeah, the difficulty is with a lot of England players is outside of Harry Kane. None of the attacking players are guaranteed to start. Okay, maybe you could say Mount is guaranteed to start as well, but outside of Kane and Mount, there's no real England player that's guaranteed to play. Everyone's at risk. So I would kind of be avoiding England players en masse other than Kane or Mount. Unless you really want to go for them, then of course, crack on. You do what you want to do. But for me personally, it's too risky for me. Far too risky. Oh, Dan Cross is in the chat. I didn't spot you there, Dan. Remember to whack a like on the stream, folks. Yeah, guys, if you can like the stream, I would massively appreciate that. Just going to check how many people we've actually got here. Log on to my other computer to have a look and see how we're doing. But yeah, if you guys could like the stream, I'd really appreciate that. And of course, if you guys are new as well, subscribe. That would be absolutely wicked. Join the mini league if you want. We're going to give away some football shirts for the winner. And whoa, we have 1,500 viewers right now. I did not expect that. That is kind of surprising. Wow. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that. If we can, right, let's get to 500 likes then. I reckon we could get to 500 likes easily with all you guys watching. I really appreciate that. Just smash the like button. Easy. It's easy. Just click that like. Come on. Get it. Let's see how high we can go. Well, it's 278 on my screen. Can we get to 300 first? 289. I'm not just going to sit here counting likes all game, guys. Don't worry. 300. There you go. 300. That'll do for now, guys. If you could keep liking the stream, I really appreciate that. But I'm not going to sit there staring. A few people asking about Carrasco. I did talk a little bit about Carrasco earlier, but if you guys weren't in the stream earlier, that's fine. So Carrasco is going to be replacing Eden Hazard, at left wing for the first game of the tournament versus Russia. So I think for that reason, he's got to be a good player to go for. You know, this is a player who's in really good form for his club, pretty good form in international as well. He will be playing at left midfield, well, left wing really, so a really far forward attacker up beside Romelu Lukaku. And yeah, I think he could score some goals. I think he could easily get some assists. I think he could do really well. You know, there's a very high upside. I need to just maybe put one light on myself, just to balance out the almost creating a lot of shadow. I really need to sort out my lighting setup, guys, because it is not perfect. I will admit that to you guys right now. In fact, why don't I just shine them on my face and turn them down a little bit? Let's turn them down so I'm not blinding myself. Just a nice glow. We could have some purple lights, blue lights. Yeah, back to white lights, I think, but we do need to turn it down because I'm going blind. Unless I put my sunglasses on, that might help. Anyway, back to fantasy. Sorry, guys, I do go off these tangents. So yes, I do think Carrasco is going to be quite a strong player to go for. To be fair, quite a strong player to go for in the 7 million. Look, at 7 million, you're not going to get a guaranteed return. You're not going to get everything you could possibly dream of. There's very few players I'm confident in under 8 million. I lose a lot of confidence in pretty much all of the midfielders. This match day in particular, it's all about the forwards and it's all about those cheap defenders. That's going to be where the points are going to be by the looks of things. I think Christian Eriksen is a great shout. That's why I like him. That's why I've had him in every draft I've had. Berardi I really like just because he's got such a good price. Alaba I think is the best 5.5 player. Ferran Torres I think is one of Spain's best players, and if they're gonna have a player who scores well, Ferran Torres is likely to be one of them. And Carrasco is the Eden Hazard replacement on left wing, so he could do pretty well. What about Insigne? Someone says, yeah, Insigne is a very good shout. Yeah, he's definitely a good player. Like I said, it's the players below like 8 million who I'm concerned about. A player like Insigne, when you're a premium player like that, a premium player is going to do really well. If Berardi starts tonight, though, I don't think Insigne is worth the extra money over Berardi. I think you may as well just go for Berardi if Berardi starts and don't even worry about Insigne. Why Eriksen is better than Carrasco? Eriksen is because he has a fantastic fixture and he is, the star player, the key man in that Denmark attack, and on all set pieces as well. So lots to like about Eriksen for this first fixture in particular. Lots to like about him indeed. Eriksen versus Jota. Oh, I kind of mentioned that earlier, didn't I? I do prefer Eriksen. A few people still asking about Carrasco. I think I've spoken about Carrasco enough by this point. Nathaniel says, what's your tactic if he doesn't start? Well, I've got a few ideas. I've got Elmas for 6 million, who I'm quite interested in as well. And I also have, I could potentially downgrade Carrasco. And if I downgrade Carrasco, I can upgrade Berardi. Well, what I'd actually essentially be doing is putting Elvedi in for Berardi, and I'd be upgrading Carrasco to Chiesa. That's probably what I would do. Probably. But I don't think Chiesa's going to start, if I'm honest. I still think Berardi's going to start, but I could be wrong. We'll find out soon. Guys, how many likes are we on? How are we getting on? 497. Guys, okay, I just need 3 more likes. 498. Yeah, just need 2 more likes to get 500 likes. That'll be amazing. Then I'll shut up about likes. But what I won't shut up about is, guys, if you could subscribe, If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely amazing. We're going to take you through the whole of the Euros. We're going to have some fun, guys. We're going to have some real fun with the Euros. So please, please do subscribe if you can. I'll massively appreciate that. I need to stop thinking about my lighting. I'm not really set up in this office yet. A few people mentioning that there's no English players in my team. Yep, that stays that way. I'm not gonna get bogged down in national pride or anything like that. My first priority is doing well in fantasy. Like I feel like I'll be letting you guys down if I let my own personal, preferred players get in the way of fantasy. So I'm just going to try and win the whole game. If I can win the entirety of Euro Fantasy, that would just be amazing. So for that reason, no England players, because I just don't trust them enough against a tough fixture in Croatia and the rotation. I don't even know how England are going to set up. I've watched so much on YouTube, on TV. Nobody has a clue how England are even going to set up. So it's so hard for me to, with my fantasy brain on, it's so hard for me with my fantasy brain to pick England players. Dan Cross says, but Dan, it's coming home. It may well be. It may well be. And it is. But how are England going to set up? Who's going to be starting? Are they going to rotate players every game? Is anyone other than Harry Kane going to score any goals? I don't know. Who do I go for? Other than Harry Kane or Mason Mount. Mason Mount I do really like, but not against Croatia. When I can have Carrasco against Russia. Berardi against Italy. Not against Italy, for Italy. Against Turkey. Eriksson against Finland. Torres against Sweden. There's so much more to like. Kane. Do I prefer Kane to Ronaldo this match day? No, I don't. Do I prefer Kane to Lukaku? No, I don't. Do I prefer Kane to Depay this match day? No, I don't. Because they've all got such fantastic fixtures. And, just like Kane as well, they're the goal-scoring hubs of their team. They're going to be the key men for scoring those goals, and that's what we need. And yes, Harry Kane is also going to be a key man for scoring goals for England, but how many goals do you think England are going to score against Croatia? Realistically, 2 maximum? I'm targeting the 3-0s, the 4-0s, potentially 5-0s. If you can pick a player who is in a game that finishes 5-0 to their team, then there's a very good chance, if it's someone like Lukaku, Depay, Ronaldo, that they're involved in 2 or 3 goals. So I'm kind of going for that upside a little bit, because if you want to win the whole thing, you kind of do have to chase the big potential hitters. Dan Cross says, also, I'm going to the game on Sunday. Oh, wow, that would be amazing. Oh, well done, man. I don't know how you managed to get tickets for that, but yeah, that's going to be sick for you. You have to let me know how it is. Yeah. So, okay, lineups are out already, supposedly. I'm not going to put it on screen because I know I'm far too laggy for that, but I'm going to look on my phone and I'll read out for you guys. Or if I can find it. Guys, where did you find it? Was it on the Italy's Twitter page or anything? Where are you finding this, guys? If you can tell me where you can find it, I'll put it on screen so everyone can see. Pop it in the chat where you found the lineups. The app? Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that it even had the lineups on the app. Okay, well, okay, let's have a look. I wonder where it says. Do I click on here or teams, fixtures and results maybe? Euro app. I wonder if it says it here. I hope I'm in the right place. Let's show you guys who's playing. Is it here? And is this definitely the correct lineups as well, or have they just kind of made some predictions? Where are you? Should it be here? Come on. Show us. Is this it? No, it's not. Guys, I don't know where you're finding it, guys. On the mobile app. Well, yeah, I can't really help there, unfortunately. I wonder if anyone on Twitter... By the way, if you want to follow me on Twitter, guys, it's at FPL Mate. I wonder if anyone on Twitter is saying about the lineups. Maybe. There you go. Courtesy of FPL Swede. FPL Swede, by the way, has been fantastic in the build-up to the Euros. I definitely recommend giving him a follow if you are into your Twitter. Yeah, definitely worth a follow. Okay, there we go then, guys. There are your lineups. So, Donnarumma, Kyrgios, Spinazzola, Locatelli, Jorginho, Insigne, Berardi, Immobile, Barella, Bonucci, Florenzi. Berardi starts. Fantastic, guys. That's fantastic. And Spinazzola as well. So, fantastic news there. Italy, not too many surprises there either. Is there anyone obvious missing? Right, so guys, this is basically this basically means, guys, you have to go and get Berardi in your team right now. I'm not even joking, guys. Berardi at 6 million. The only reason why you wouldn't want Berardi at 6 million is if he didn't start. Now you know Berardi is starting. Now you know he scored 5 goals in his last 6 games. You have to go and change your fantasy teams right now and get Berardi. I'm not even joking. For 6 million, there is no better player you can get for 6 million or less right this second than Berardi. So go change your teams. I don't care if you have to close the stream down to do it. Don't close the stream down though, guys. I want you to stay. I want you to stay here, guys. But guys, yeah, seriously, Berardi has just become a must-have. An absolute must-have. You know, a few people saying Berardi or Insigne. Don't worry about Insigne. Go for Berardi. Spend the rest of your money elsewhere. You've got an hour and 15 minutes to make some little final changes to your team. Go for Berardi over Insigne. Spend the rest of the money elsewhere. Upgrade another player. This is a great opportunity for you guys. A seriously good opportunity. If you've got both Berardi and Insigne, fine, fair enough. But, yeah, no Chiesa. You know, I kind of expected this, to be honest. I've been saying kind of for a few days that Berardi has just played himself into the team. You know, get Berardi in your team, guys. Captain Insigne or Berardi. If you've got both, then go for Insigne. But if you've, if you only got one, then just go for that one. And it doesn't really matter too much. You know, like I said, if you're only going to have one of Insigne or Berardi, I would go for Berardi. I would. Dan Cross says, haha, I'll call your bluff, I've got Insigne. No, by the way, I've not got a problem with Insigne. I think he's fantastic. And if you want to go for both, yeah, absolutely go for both. But if it is a case of one or the other for you, I would go for Berardi, because I think you can spend that additional 2.5 million in a way that makes your team a lot better. OJT says, watch Berardi not score. Yeah, no, fair enough. But, you know, he's got just as much of a chance, if not a better chance of scoring than Insigne. Or, you know, and that's what fantasy is about at the end of the day. It's about what are the chances of them scoring. Obviously, we can't predict the future. We just have to give our best guesses on who is going to do well. And my best guess, a lot of people's best guess, based on Berardi's recent performances for Italy, is that he has got a very good chance of getting something in this Turkey game. He's on a 4-game, 4-goal streak. 5 goals in 6 games, you know. Every time he starts, he scores, which is just mad. A few people saying, is Donnarumma worth it? I would rather have I would rather have Spinazzola because I think Spinazzola's upside is a lot better than Donnarumma's. Yeah, Donnarumma could get a couple of saves. I don't think he will even get that many saves. So he's kind of maxed out at 6 points, 7 at a stretch, which is probably not going to happen. Whereas Spinazzola, clean sheet, he gets the same amount of clean sheet points as Donnarumma. Obviously, he can't get save points, but he gets inside the other opposition's box. He gets assists. He gets goals. Dan Cross, I'm also thinking about Matchday 3 over 2 games. He'll probably start both. Maybe. The difficulty with Matchday 3 is if the team has won both of their first games, there is pretty much no chance of there being no casualties. If they win, if Italy win their first 2 games, there is going to be casualties in the first game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's some of their bigger players. And the same applies to any team. Any team that wins their first 2 games will massively rotate, unimaginably rotation for their third game, which makes match day 3 so dangerous to try and speculate for, which is why I am 100% playing a chip, the wildcard chip, in match day 3, because unless you know their situation at the time, it's difficult to see exactly exactly what's going to happen, who's going to start. But if you can see a team 1, 2 out of 2, you know that their players are dangerous. If you see certain players play and others have been rested for the previous game, you know the ones that have been rested are probably going to play in match day 3. So much can happen. So yeah. But anyway, should we go back to my team? I know a few people have asked me to throw my team back onto the screen. Team on the screen. Guys, it's not too late to join the mini league, by the way. If you want to join the league, the code is, of course, on screen and in the description as well. The code is... Oh, I've got to get this right. Here? Over there somewhere. That's where the mini league code is. What's the best 7 million or under midfielder? It's now Berardi. Oh yeah, that's cool. It has those little shirt icons next to them. I didn't know about that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Cool little feature there. We can tell who's playing. Charles Batarai says, what's your prediction on today's game, Turkey versus Italy? I think it's going to be 2-0 to Italy. Maybe, it could be 1-0 as well. But I think you'd be safe to assume that Italy keep a clean sheet, because they always do. And Berardi, Insigne, Immobile are going to be the players, potentially getting some goals. So I'd say the 2 goals would come from Berardi, Insigne, and Immobile. Some combination of those 3. This is really cool. Ryan Svoboda says, bad idea to have Florenzi and Spinazzola. No, if you really, really rate the Italian defence, then go for it. Double up. Let's see what happens. Is Burak Yilmaz a good bet? Not for this game, no, because like I said, I don't think Turkey are going to be able to score in this game. So it's going to be kind of tough. It's going to be tough for Turkey in this game. For their attackers anyway. I think we're still streaming. Reconnection successful. Well, phew. Thought I lost you for a minute, guys. It seems like we're still on. Mount or Carrasco, Dan? I prefer Carrasco for match day 1. Should I drop Immobile for Florenzi for Berardi? I'd probably drop Florenzi, to be honest. Yeah, because I like Spinazzola better than Florenzi anyway. A few people saying double up is too much. I think I kind of get what you're saying. I have not gone for the double up, but you can go for it. James Craig, yo, thank you for the super chat, man. Really appreciate that. It's a very generous super chat as well. Thank you, my friend. Hi, Dan. Please help. I need opinions. Chesney in goal. Florenzi, Mela, and Denier in defence. Insigne, Alaba, Mount, and Ferran Torres in midfield. Lukaku, Ronaldo, and Depay up top. Good team. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I do quite like that. I would swap Florenzi down to Spinazzola, particularly now we know the lineups. And if you do that, if you switch, you free up 0.5 million, and you can maybe think about upgrading someone else. If you do Florenzi to Spinazzola, and maybe You could maybe do Insigne down to Berardi. You could maybe upgrade. Who would you upgrade there? You could upgrade Alaba potentially. You could upgrade your bench. You know, you've got a really good structure for that team though. But Florenzi, I would swap to Spinazzola, and I just spend the 0.5 elsewhere because I don't think there's any benefit whatsoever of going for Florenzi over Spinazzola. To be honest, for 0.5, you're getting a very similar kind of player. If anything, Spinazzola is actually more of an attacking player. People saying, please post your league link. Shall we post a link in the chat? Is anyone got whoever's a mod or a member or someone who's an excellent Patreon of the channel, spam that link, spam the mini league join link in the chat if you wouldn't mind. Will Kier start? Absolutely, 100%. Opinion on Kalajdzic? I'm kind of going off Kalajdzic a little bit because I'm getting some doubts about Austria and in attack, and I'm also getting some doubts about the certainty of Kalajdzic playing or starting anyway. So it's difficult. Thoughts on Wijnaldum? If Wijnaldum is, well, if the Netherlands are playing in a 3 in midfield formation, a 5-3-2, which they have been, then Wijnaldum becomes a lot less appealing. Thank you, Dan Cross, for spamming that link. Guys, look in the chat for Dan Cross's link spamming. That is the mini league if you want to join us. Mimu says, why Denier over Meunier? Because he's so much cheaper and more nailed on, to be fair. Although I agree, Meunier's upside is a lot better, but you know, more risk, more money, so it's not for me. Radeski and Donnarumma in team. Can I sub off and get the points if the other one doesn't do well? Yeah. Put Donnarumma in first, and if he doesn't go well, put Radeski on. Maybe. Any 7 million or less midfielder apart from Berardi, Mount, or Tielemans? I would just go for Carrasco. Vapor Fire says, is Immobile a good idea for this game? Maybe. I do prefer Lukaku, Depay and Ronaldo. Those are my top 3 strikers for this match day anyway. Just because I don't think you want to underestimate Turkey too much. So yeah. Intercity lineup. Yeah, we've had a look at the lineups already, which is pretty good. Guys, I'll throw it on screen again for those of you who haven't seen the lineups yet. Hopefully it will... Oh no, it wasn't on there. Where did I find it? Oh yeah, it was on Twitter. There you go. Courtesy of FPL Swede. Go drop him a follow. Krul or Stecklenburg, who will start? Nobody knows. Is Merla nailed on? I think he's pretty nailed on. Maybe like an 80-90% chance of him playing. 8 million or less midfielder. Berardi. Ferran Torres. How much is Ferran Torres? 8 million. I've got 4.5 million to spend on a bench midfielder. Anyone other than Nego? No, there isn't really anyone, is there? Nego's a defender anyway. I don't know why they've listed him as midfielder. Is Berardi a good option? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Definitely a good option. Braithwaite versus Depay. Oh, come on. Depay is definitely the play. You've got to go for Depay over Braithwaite if it's a like-for-like swap, you know. Should I sub out Chiesa if he's not starting? Transfer out Chiesa. If you've got Chiesa in your team, take him out. Get Berardi in. Spend that 1 million bonus cash you've got. Spend it elsewhere. Come on. How do we change formation? Just make substitutes or transfers, and it does it for you. Bouncing or Spinazzola? I don't know who Bouncing is, but Spinazzola is the guy. Both Insigne and Berardi? Yeah, you can do. Alaba replacement? I don't think you need to replace Alaba. He's good for 5.5 million. It's, you know, you can only expect so much for 5.5 million. Matthew Bonello Dupuy says, mate, can you transfer out Berardi after the game and put in someone else who's playing it tomorrow? You can take Berardi out now, but if you take Berardi out, you can't put him back in. You can only substitute in players who haven't played a game yet. So if you put Berardi on the bench, he stays on your bench. If you put Berardi on and take him out, he stays out. I hope that makes sense. And thank you very much for the super chat, Matthew, as well. I really appreciate that. I'm not talking about Carrasco anymore. Guys, we've got 5 minutes left of the stream. I'm not going all the way to deadline today. Just because I really wanted to watch the opening ceremony of the Euros, and I wanted to sit down and watch that and just enjoy it. I'm having a couple of friends round to watch the first game who are into football just as much as I am, and we're going to play some football related games and stuff like that. And I'm gonna have a really good night and just enjoy the Euros, to be honest. But yeah, most weeks I think we will do a stream all the way to the deadline. But not today. Not today. Plus, I know, there's plenty of other YouTubers who are doing streams this evening, who I'm sure you would much rather watch than me, which is absolutely fine. But we'll go for a few more minutes. My chat is lagging on one screen, so I'm actually going to face this way. Please don't think I'm ignoring you. Oh, it's catching up with itself now a little bit. Llorente over Alaba? No, I don't think so, Sylvester. I would stick with Alaba. Why do you have Denier? Because he's so cheap. Ragav Gopal says Bruno or Ferran. There's a lot of argument to say go for Ferran Torres just because he's so much cheaper than Bruno. Not that I think Bruno's a bad option, but Ferran is probably going to offer a similar output for a little bit less money. Tancross says, housewarming, love to see it. Yeah, a few people want to see. It's not going to be a big housewarming or anything like that, but a few friends do want to come over and see the new gaff. So I'm absolutely fine with that. We'll have a couple of beers and watch some football, which is absolutely my cup of tea, you know. James Crazy, is there something wrong with Ultimate Fan? I can't download it. I don't play Ultimate Fan, so I don't know. Is Eriksen a good option, and why? Yeah, Eriksen's definitely a good option because he is just absolutely playing an amazing fixture, and he's by far the best attacking player for his international team. Any news on Eden Hazard? I really fancy Eden. Yeah, Eden Hazard, for the last thing I read, which was last night, is Eden Hazard is not going to be starting the first game, which I completely understand. And I do think it's going to be Carrasco taking his place, which is why, surprise, surprise, Carrasco is in my team. Should I captain Berardi or Insigne? If you've got both, I'll just go for Insigne. Should I keep both Berardi? Yeah, a few people are asking if I should keep both Berardi and Insigne. I don't think there's anything wrong with keeping both. If you're going for one, go for Berardi. If you want both, then fair enough, have both. I don't think there's no problem with going for both whatsoever. Ferran Carrasco or Ruslan the Ukraine? Ferran Torres, I think is a really good shout. Mount or Shaqiri, who to drop for Carrasco? Drop Mason Mount. For the first game, I would drop Mason Mount, you know. What about Mertens? A little bit too expensive for me, if you ask me. Do we members get to see your new setup? Maybe. Maybe I'll post a few pictures as members only posts on YouTube if you guys are interested. Should I captain Spinazzola over Berardi? I'm going to just go for Berardi just because he's an attacking player, and typically speaking, attacking players will have the higher upside. You know, they've got, Berardi has got more of a chance of scoring, getting an assist, stuff like that than Spinazzola has. Yazici or Alaba? Prefer Alaba for the first game. Immobile or Memphis? Prefer Memphis for the first game again. Cancelo or Carrasco? But different positions. Why not both? I think England players not best to choice. Yeah, but if England players the first game is probably not the best idea. Other than Harry Kane, which is just a surefire bet 100% of the time. You know what? I'm actually getting blinded by this. Ugh. You know what, guys? I really need to sort out this setup. Oh, that's actually a lot better. I can actually see again. Question is, can you guys see me? You can. That lighting is so much better. Wow. Why didn't I not do that earlier? Do you think Jota starts? Yes, I do. Opinion on Soshek? He could do okay. Should I keep Rodri? I mean, you can if you want. He's not going to get you any fantasy points, though. Belgium clean sheet, low chance. Yeah, maybe. I have thought about swapping out Denier for someone else, to be honest. I just don't really know who. I think Denier is still a good option, though. But yeah, maybe now I've got Lukaku and Carrasco. At least I've got one clean sheet point covered with Carrasco. So yeah, maybe I'll go for someone else. Another 4.5 million defender. I don't know who though, to be honest. I don't know. Will Tielemans start? Yeah, I think he will start, but I don't think he's a very good fantasy option. Dan Cross says, "Ooh, I'm blinded by the lights." I am blinded by the lights. Cancelo versus Hungary or Rodriguez. Tough decision. Probably Cancelo. Maybe. Bruno or Senior dilemma. I probably. You know, that is a dilemma. I'm not even going to get involved in that one. They're both good options. You know, when you're picking between two good players, and often you are picking between two good players, you really may as well flip a coin. Unai Simon, a good choice. Yeah. Can you comment about Goossens from Germany? Yeah, he's playing against France, so you probably don't want him right away. Arnautovic or Weghorst? I'd probably go for Weghorst over Arnautovic, to be honest. Pau Torres nailed on. He's pretty nailed on, yeah. You know, you never know for 100%, obviously, but you would say that there's a very, very high chance. Abdul says, I disagree. He was a great option for Leicester. I assume you're talking about Tielemans. I don't think Tielemans was a particularly good option for Leicester in fantasy Premier League. I mean, he has his moments, obviously, but you wouldn't take Tielemans for an entire season, would you? Because you know that although he will occasionally bag you a few points, most game weeks he's not going to score. You know, at best he kind of gets an assist. Yeah, there's just so many other creative players in that, and more attacking players as well for that for the Belgium team. And you know, with Leicester as well, Tielemans was taking set pieces. That's far less likely for Belgium. Yo, question: why don't people choose Christensen instead of Mela or Kier? Mostly because of the price, I guess. Why would you choose a? You know, like I keep saying, for a team, every defender gets the same amount of points if their team keeps a clean sheet. Why would you pay extra for the same clean sheet? Particularly if you can get a player with attacking potential like Merla. Zielinski, a good option for a 7 million slot. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Did you watch the FA Cup final? Yes, I did. That was not fantasy though. I'm not saying Tielemans is a bad player, but he's just not a good fantasy player. He's an okay fantasy player. He's not someone you go out your way to get in your team though, would he? But guys, if you fancy a player, don't let me change your mind. You know, you go with who you got to go with. Mr. Danny Mac says, Dan, Captain Yilmaz or Berardi? I would definitely go for Berardi over Yilmaz. Maca races Castagna or Meunier? I don't know. It's so hard to call out of those two who's going to play. It's really, really difficult to make that decision. I am edging towards Castagna at this moment, but I'm not going to pretend that I know the answer to that question. I wish I could tell you, bro. I really do. I think your best option is to just go for neither. I think that's the safe thing to do. I really do. A few people asking about Carrasco. Yeah, he'll start the first game, or he very much should start the first game. After that, not so sure. But first game, he will replace Eden Hazard in the left wing position, probably, very, very likely. Jorginho takes penalties for Italy, doesn't he? Yeah, if he's on the pitch, he will be taking them. I can't actually remember if Jorginho's playing. I assume he is. Is Jorginho playing? Starting? Yes, he is. So he will be on penalties. If you fancy Italy for a penalty, then go for Jorginho, sure. Yeah, I think Jorginho's not cheap, is he? So you really are kind of depending on penalties for that price. Alaba or Tillemans. Tillemans is $1 million more expensive. Tillemans also Sheck. Neither. I don't really like. I'm not massively keen on either of them. You know, but to be fair, you get to a price where the player is not guaranteed to start. You know, when you get to the cheaper players, you are taking a risk, and you kind of have to accept. Yeah, I can't be confident in this player. It is a bit of a risk. So yeah, you put your money where it wants to go. But Berardi for the cheaper options, Berardi is just by far the standout guy. He really is. Anyone under 7 million. You know, even the 7 million players as well, Berardi still stands out as the best one at 6 million. It's quite insane. But guys, it's now 6 minutes past. Viewers have massively dropped off. I imagine a few other YouTubers have started streaming, so I will let them take over from me with the Euros content for today. Of course, we'll be back. We'll be back very soon. Probably maybe on, I don't know. Well, obviously we'll do some more videos for the next match day, of course. But I think let's settle down and watch the football for tonight. That's what I'm going to do anyway. But guys, enjoy the remainder of fantasy content that you are watching. I'm sure there'll be plenty of other YouTubers in streaming that will be able to help you out. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like on the stream before you do disappear, I would massively appreciate that. Can we get to... We've got 777 likes. There's 1,200 of you watching. If we could get close to 1,000, I'd be pretty happy. And maybe top it up to 1,000 with the stream replay viewers as well. But yeah, guys, if we get to like 900, I'd be pretty happy with that. I think I'd be pretty pleased. So if you can help me out there, I would massively appreciate it. And guys, of course, subscribe if you're new, because there's going to be so much Euro fantasy stuff on this channel. We're going to help you out. We're going to try and help you to do really well all through the tournament. We'll give you some tips. And yeah, so subscribe and come back. Come back next week when we do some more videos. Guys, enjoy the football. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the opening ceremony if you're watching it. Enjoy the other content if you're watching more content. And enjoy fantasy. Best of luck for these first games. I really hope you all do really well. I know you guys can smash it. If you want to carry on chatting with me, I will be over on Twitter at FPL Mate. The link of that is over there somewhere, or not the link. My @ is over there at FPL Mate. All the link is in the description. If you want to chat to me over on Twitter, we'll keep the conversation going a little bit. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later, mates. Enjoy the footy. Good luck. See ya. Bye bye.